What is up, guys? T-Man here, and today I have a very special video for you guys. So on screen we have the team that I used to get top 8 at the London International Championships this past weekend. The International Championships are a new level of tournament that are replacing what were previously our National Championships, with the first ones being held in London, England. So it was a very cool experience. I did manage to go and have a very good weekend with my friends. I did manage to play well enough to break into the top 8 at 11-3. Got a little bit lucky on resistance, but overall I think I played pretty well at the tournament. Very happy with how I did, and I figured I'd share my team with you guys. So on screen we have the team of Pelipper, Golduck, Tapu Bulu, Muck, Tapu Koko, and Porygon 2. So I'm gonna preface this by saying that there's two things that happened with the amount of time I actually got in for testing with this team. One being that I played 0 games going into the tournament with this team, and it was an adventure trying to learn the team as I was playing throughout the day. I definitely agree with the 6 that I ended up choosing in the end, of course. The only thing that I would have changed, though, the second point, is that a lot of the spreads could have been a lot more optimal, and a few of the move slot choices as well. And I'll be sure to get into that as I go through the team here, but for a little bit of a mishmash of things I've been testing recently, as you've seen, I've been testing the Pelipper, Golduck, Tapu Koko part of the core on Chase the Championships recently. So it's a team that I did have some experience with going into the tournament, but as far as the full 6 and how they work together, not so much, and very happy with how it turned out in the end. So my thought process behind it was that I wanted to run the rain mode because I think that Ducks have a very good matchup against a lot of teams that were at the tournament, and I think that rain is just a very consistent mode. Scald from both Golduck and Pelipper are able to do large amounts of damage to a majority of the Pokemon in the metagame, and just being able to go fast, do lots of damage, and get through rounds quickly without too much happening was something very appealing. The other part of the team that I wanted to focus on was I wanted a strong Trick Room mode for whatever team I was playing, because I think that a lot of teams were taking bad matchups to harder Trick Room teams, which I thought was a little bit weird going into the tournament, but definitely over the course of the day there were a few teams that I was able to just set up my Trick Room mode and kind of blow through the teams because I didn't have enough to stop the bulky Trick Room sweepers in Muck and Tapu Bulu. So with those two things in mind, I was able to put this together last second. The original team I was testing with this concept was Pelipper, Golduck, Tapu Koko, Porygon 2, but with Celesteela and Marowak. And the only problem with that was Marowak wasn't really able to fully carry a Trick Room mode like I wanted, mostly because I had my Pelipper, and I had to play very carefully with when I had the rain up and when I could be just like Flare Blitzing away with Marowak. And I felt the restriction was a little bit much since I did want to bring Pelipper to a lot of my Trick Room mode games. So being able to find something else to sweep with, that mon was Tapu Bulu, was very crucial, and I think it's a really big part of why I did as well as I did in the tournament. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and get right into the team here, and we're going to start off with our Pelipper on screen. So Pelipper is holding the Focus Sash. So the reason behind that is because, as we see Pelipper's base stats, it is not very bulky. It's got a little bit of defense there, but overall it's not able to take hits very well. In testing with Scarf and Citrus Berry and Waterium Z, it just went down to random things like Tapu Lele Psychics, random Tapu Bulu things. So I wanted something to kind of keep Pelipper on the field longer, so not only I could set up Tailwind and get Scald off, but so that I could, keep Pelipper on the field and then switch it out and reset Rain later in the game if I needed to. So Pelipper definitely worked out there with the Focus Sash. I definitely think that was a good item for it. I do think that it is probably the most common item for it now that we're seeing. I know that I definitely saw a few other Sash Pelipper in the Day 2, and it is a very strong mon. I know that we have a little bit of a mix between Politoed and Pelipper right now. The reason why I like Pelipper is because of Tailwind specifically. I don't think there's a lot of good speed control in the format, and the ability to set up Tailwind, along with Trick Room and Swift Swim, gave me a lot of versatile options for speed control. Outside of that, Scald and Hurricane were a good coverage move. Hurricane hits a lot of good things in the format, like Tapu Bulu, and it does a good amount of things like Kartana, which would normally just, take a Scald. I mean, anything will hit Kartana, but Hurricane being able to do good damage to that is very, very nice, and allows me to have a good stab option that can't be redirected by Gastrodon, because that was something that was pretty popular over the weekend. So, moving on into the Golduck here, Waterium Z is one of the main reasons why Golduck is able to do what it does. Scald does good damage output, and if you want to risk Hydro Pump does pick up some specific knockouts, specifically on Tapu Koko is the main one that you can just Hydro Pump without having to use your Z move, and just pick up a knockout there. But most of the times you're going to just want to opt for the Waterium Z and go for the Z move and pick up a knockout there on a lot of things in the format. Just go down to a Hydro Vortex. So I know my stream game I was able to Hydro Vortex on Metagross from full health and just pick up a knockout there. There's a Selfless Garchomps that can go down to Hydro Vortex. So Hydro Vortex being able to just remove something, being as fast as Golduck is in the rain, was absolutely amazing, and one of the focal points behind playing the team. Scald still does significant damage after you burn your Z move, so it's not like Golduck just has the one nuke and then just doesn't do anything. It was actually very consistent damage overall, and you had so many other things on the team that were able to punch holes in opposing teams with Tapu Koko, Tapu Bulu. So being able to get that one very big Hydro Vortex off on something was very important, and one of the reasons why Golduck's so good. The one thing I definitely would have changed in my Golduck is the spread. It definitely does not need all of that speed. The benchmark I'd probably hit is Scarf Garchomp, and I do have another spread that I'll be showing you guys in a little bit. That I probably would have changed to, but as far as what I did run at the tournament, it was just the 4 HP, max special attack, max speed Golduck here, and it did very well, but I definitely would have liked a little bit of extra bulk, and I definitely didn't need all that speed. So moving on into Tapu Bulu. So Tapu Bulu is very interesting. Wood Hammer and Protect were pretty much exclusively the only moves I clicked the entire weekend. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but having Horn Leech probably over Stone Edge would have been a little bit more helpful. So the Miracle Seed actually lets it pick up a few knockouts that it wouldn't normally be able to get. I know some Garchomps will be going down to Miracle Seed, Wood Hammer. I know you're able to get good damage on things like Tapu Lele and Gyarados. I don't know the exact calcs on which specific things, like which specific Tapu Leles go down to which calcs, but I do know that generally if you set up Trick Room and you do have Grassy Terrain up, general bulk Tapu Lele will be going down to Wood Hammer. So that was very useful. Since you're only hitting grass moves, Horn Leech would have been nice to have. Stone Edge is really only useful for things like Marowak and potentially stuff like Arcanine, but I have Golduck, I have Pelipper, I have Muck to knock off the Marowak, so I think that I definitely would have opted for the Horn Leech. Whirlwind, on the other hand, although it wasn't used, was definitely something that I don't regret running and definitely would have ran again if I had the option. The ability to Whirlwind out things like Eeveemancy and Z Conversion is very, very cool, and it gives you an out to those kind of teams that you generally wouldn't have otherwise. You could also Whirlwind out things like Trick Room Setters or Celesteela behind substitutes, so Whirlwind's actually a pretty versatile move that I definitely liked. the spread on the Tapu Bulu is also pretty cool. So what this spread does is Tapu Bulu is able to take a poison jab from I believe Jolly max attack Garchomp with the poison jab there, of course. And then generally what you do is you take the poison jab and you're able to return a knockout with Wood Hammer. So instead of trading 1 for nothing with Tapu Bulu and Garchomp, you're able to trade 1 for 1 there. In a lot of situations, it's very, very good. Especially since you can just knock out Garchomp and bring in Tapu Koko, and Tapu Koko is able to just thunder away a team, so that was definitely cool. The speed on Tapu Bulu is there for Pheromosa, so you're able to get into Tailwind and outspeed Pheromosa by a few points, and that was very important in a set against a good friend of mine that I made over the weekend. His name is David Patel. He did very well. I believe he got top 32 this weekend, or top 16. I think it was top 32. But nonetheless, a very good player. It was very fun meeting him, and I know in our set, I would have liked to outspeed his Pheromosa. It does only outspeed Adamant Pheromosa, and he was running Jolly. But that aside, being able to outspeed Adamant Pheromosa and Tapu Koko, max speed Tapu Koko, is very important under Tailwind, since, you know, Pelipper does not want to be facing down a lot of things, and being able to remove them with Tapu Bulu first is very cool. So that was Tapu Bulu in a nutshell. I think it was a very straightforward mon. I literally just clicked Wood Hammer and Protect the entire weekend. Hornleech would have been definitely wanted over Stone Edge, but it definitely worked out as well. So moving on into Muck here. This is actually a mon that I was kind of on the fence on, but I definitely needed a answer to opposing Tapu Lele, and by that I mean I had nothing to switch in on it. I just really Porygon 2. So having something that was able to take a Psychic from Tapu Lele was very, very important and very valuable to me, and that's how Muck got added on. The Figure Gluttony set with Curse was actually introduced to me by my good friend Alex Gomez, and I know he ran it as well, and it worked out very, very well for both of us. Poison Jab did miss a few knockouts on things like Tapu Lele's, and while Gunk Shot would have been cool, I think that missing Gunk Shots over the course of the day would have been a lot worse than missing knockouts with Poison Jab. Just being able to get the damage off and then know that you're going to get the damage instead of having to risk it was definitely worth it in my book. So Curse had two very specific uses, since one, we are a Trick Room team partially, and you're able to set up Trick Room and Curse, which is something that's very cool that Muck can do. At +1 defense, it's able to take a lot of hits. I know I was able to, you know, take hits from things like Araquanid, and I believe with the combination of Curse and Tapu Bulu and the Figgy Berry, Garchomp can get to the point where it can Earthquake like 4 times, and you can still be sitting on the field there just because of Figgy Berry recovery and the Grassy Terrain recovery, and the fact that Grassy Terrain halves the damage from Earthquake. So that was very cool. The only problem that I had with it was the other time that you'd want to be cursing is when you're going to be playing against an opposing Trick Room team, because that was one of the two main things that this team had a problem with. Harder Trick Room modes with slower Trick Room mons, and then the other problem was Sash Electric types, but I'll get to that in a little bit as well. But yeah, being able to curse against opposing Trick Room teams is very, very important, since that allows you to, you know, kind of punish them for setting up Trick Room, and then you could still be slower than them and have the damage output in Trick Room to out-damage them. So Muck was very, very good in that aspect. The only problem was because we were Adamant and max speed IVs, we were not able to underspeed min speed Araquanid in Trick Room. So being able to go first in Trick Room against that would have been nice. So I definitely would have ran a little bit less speed, at least on the IVs on Muck. But overall, it was a very strong mon. The fact that I was able to play with basically 150% HP with a Figgy Berry was very useful, because this was a very frail team for the most part between the two Ducks and Tapu Koko. But being able to have Mach switch in and take a hit and then heal back up to nearly full with Figgy Berry was very important. So moving on to Tapu Koko here. Tapu Koko was absolutely amazing this weekend, and I want to attribute it to the moveset. I think one of the most underrated moves on Tapu Koko is probably Volt Switch. The ability to get yourself in a better position by switching out, but also doing a solid like 40% of things in the process was absolutely amazing. It allowed me to do enough chip damage to things so I could get in things like my Pelipper and my Golduck and pick up knockouts with Scald that I need the chip damage to get in the first place. So having Volt Switch was absolutely amazing. You'll see that I am running Modest Tapu Koko, and the reason behind that was because there wasn't many things in that speed bracket between the Modest Tapu Koko and the Timid Tapu Koko that I really want to outspeed. I think Weavile would be the most relevant one, and I really didn't see too much of it. So at that point, if you're running Timid, you're really just there for the speed ties with the opposing Tapu Koko if you just want to go for Dazzling Gleam. So opting for Modest was definitely strong. It allows Thunder to do even more damage to things, and being able to put just large amounts of damage on things, even if you're not picking up KOs on things, was extremely important for things like Porygon 2 and Mach, because being able to pick up KOs from small amounts from HP were what Mach and Porygon 2 were able to do really best, since they do lack a little bit in damage output, and this team is extremely offensive. If you're not applying pressure with heavy offense for most turns of the game, you aren't winning the game because of how frail the team is. But Thunder being able to chunk things for a good 75-80% was very strong. I know you're able to pick up a lot of knockouts if you are able to get Electric Train up. Tapu Koko being the fastest of the Tapus does kind of put that in a little bit of a problem, since Tapu Lele, Tapu Bulu, Tapu Fini, even though I didn't play any, were all able to underspeed me and set up their own terrain. But I was able to Volt Switch off of things, get chip damage on things, and then bring Tapu Koko back in later in the late game and start sweeping with Thunder. Yeah, and it works both ways with Porygon 2 and Mach as well, since you can just get a little bit of chip damage on something with Tri-Attack or Knockoff, and then pick up KOs with Thunder, and then even Dazzling Gleam. I know that was very crucial in a set that I played against one of the Italian players. I was able to knock off the Assault Vest with Mach, and then Dazzling Gleam was able to pick up a KO on the opposing Goodra. So I know that Tapu Koko was very good for dealing the large amounts of damage that would be able to pick up important knockouts after a little bit of chip damage. So very, very good at that. Its speed is incredible. It's a very straightforward mon. There's not really much to talk about. I think that the Thunder damage output is significantly more than Thunderbolt's. Thunderbolt does, on average, around like 40 to 60% to general things in the metagame, whereas Thunder does closer to 70 to 80. And that extra damage output is what allows Porygon 2 and Mach to really pick up the extra knockouts that you need. So definitely one of the stronger mons on the team. And then the last mon here, the bulkiest mon on the team, was Porygon 2. So essentially, when I was building this team, I said, I want to run 5 really offensive mons and a Trick Room setter that can't die. And Porygon 2 came to mind immediately. And while this is not the best way to team build, it was a good concept at first, and it did end up working out. The main thing that Porygon 2 allowed me to do was actually through Toxic. So when you're just bashing through things with Thunder and Hydro Vortex and Wood Hammer, if you run into things that you're not picking up knockouts on, or that are resisting all of your super effective, or all of your high damage output hits, you run into some problems. Things like Goodra, things like opposing Porygon 2 that are able to either resist all of the moves in Goodra and just recover off the damage you're putting out in Porygon 2. It was a huge problem, and Toxic was the immediate answer to that. You can throw Porygon 2 on the field, and then throw Toxic on something like an opposing Porygon 2, and then just choose to ignore it for a good portion of the game. Porygon 2 was able to just set up Trick Room when I needed, put Toxic on the bulkier threats that I couldn't just like beat through, and it was overall just the consistency glue to the team. I think that Ice Beam would have been a strong move option over Tri-Attack, specifically for one purpose, and that was the fact that I could not break Focus Sashes on Gengar with Porygon 2, and that was a problem. I know that happened in my my round 9 game on day 1 against one of the UK players, Wales players, Luke, and I was not able to break the Focus Sash on his Gengar since I couldn't Toxic it. I could not Tri-Attack it, so when he went for Taunt on the Porygon 2, there was nothing I could really do in that situation. So I think Ice Beam would have been very good. I don't know if it would have been better than Tri-Attack, but it's definitely something I would have tried if I had more time to test the team. But overall, the spread was good. The spread was, I believe it's the General Showdown Calculator one. I actually took this off of Chris Danzo, but I believe that is the general spread. I did calc a new one, although I think I need some more time to test it before I officially endorse a Porygon spread, since there's so much things that it can live with just general bulk, and I'm not sure if I found anything specific that I wanted to take yet, but the spread worked. It's just general bulk. Being able to take Hydro Vortex plus Scald is pretty cool. Being able to take 2 Eruptions is very cool. So nothing too out of the ordinary, but it was a very solid mon. It was a very good consistency mon for the team. So I just want to go over some of the things that I would have changed in the team. One of them would have been the Golduck spread. So here is the spread that I would have run. The speed here allows you to outspeed Adamant Garchomp with Choice Scarf, so that you're able to run the rest in bulk and just keep your Golduck on the field a little bit longer, start scalding away at things. I would have run Horn Leech on the Tapu Bulu just because I don't think Stone Edge is necessary for Marowak on this team specifically, since I do have a lot to deal with Marowak already. And then just being able to hit grass moves was the goal of Tapu Bulu, and it was what I was able to do for most of the weekend. And in a lot of situations, if it was just Horn Leech instead of Wood Hammer, I would have been able to just recover a little bit more health, still pick up the knockouts I needed to, and then keep Tapu Bulu on the field. The Muck, this is the speed IV I would have ran if I had known beforehand the speed tier with Araquanid. This allows you to curse once and then outspeed the Araquanid in Trick Room, which definitely would have been something that was very useful for the tournament, but Muck still worked out very well. It was able to outspeed Marowak without much investment, so there's a trade-off there that you have to make. But Muck was very strong, and I think that's definitely a change I would have made. Otherwise, yeah, just the Ice Beam on Porygon 2, the updated bulk here on the Porygon 2 is just to take Scald plus Hydro Vortex more often. Otherwise, it was very straightforward, just very, very offensive with the Rain mode, and you were able to flip into the Trick Room mode when you needed to in certain matchups. I know one of my favorite combinations with the team is to lead Pelipper and Golduck. Do a lot of damage with the Rain portion of the team, and then when they're able to take a knock on you finally, you bring in Porygon 2, you flip the switch and you go into Trick Room, and then you bring in Tapu Bulu, and Tapu Bulu is able to close out games very efficiently. So, yeah, that's generally it. Things I wanted to say were things I had trouble with. I mentioned the harder Trick Room modes before, so that's Trick Room teams that have slower Trick Room sweepers than mine, and they were able to kind of, blow through Tapu Bulu and Muck faster than I could react to it, and I wasn't applying the damage output that the team needs to apply to have a winning board position. Otherwise, the other thing was the Sash Electric types. Sash Tapu Koko was absolutely a killer, since if you Hydro Pumped it or Hydro Vortexed it and it lived, it was able to stay on the field and Thunderbolt or Discharge and do massive amounts of damage to you, and that was a huge problem for the team. My loss in top 8 was actually to Michele Gavelli. Sorry about that. Yeah, he had the Focus Sash Circuitry, and that was something that was extremely hard for me to deal with, and one of the main reasons why I was having such a hard time in top 8. Besides the fact that Michele was a fantastic player, and he played extremely well. But, yeah, the Focus Sash Electric types were a huge problem for this team. Gastrodon really wasn't too much of a problem. I did have Tapu Bulu. I was able to Toxic Stall it out if I didn't have to use the Rain mode, but if I had to use the Rain mode and had to deal with the Gastrodon, it was a little bit of a rougher spot to deal with. So that is really it, guys. I will be using this team a little bit on future Chase the Championships for probably the next week or so, but otherwise, that is it. Let me know what you guys think of the team. Let me know if you guys use it, if you have any thoughts on it. But as always, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.